So what did you do first? All right, so we're going to distribute the negative, which is going to give me negative 8 plus 6n is less than or equal to negative 4n minus 8. All right, now what? Add 4n. So when you're going across the inequality, we don't really say it's combining like terms. It's only combining when they're together, like on the same side. But now we're going to do some inverse operations. And this is where a lot of people got confused because they were like, well, when I add the 8, I get 0. Well, guess what that means? The answer is 0. 0 is a good number. 10n is less than or equal to 0. When you divide 0 by any number, what do you get? 0. So your answer that I'm looking for is n is less than and equal to 0. How do you write that? So if you gave me that answer and it was worth 5 points, hypothetically, I would give you 3, maybe 4. If I'm in a good mood, 4. But I'm at least taking off 1 point. So how do you write that in interval notation? Can one person raise your hand and tell me how you would write that in interval notation? N is less than and equal to, n is less than or equal to 0. Cooper.
If anything comma 0, bracket around 0, and 0 around the negative.
You're right. Okay, because what this means is that we're taking solutions that go this way. Less than goes to the left. So this means I'm starting, well, I'm not starting. 0 through negative infinity. That's the interval. So this is the correct answer. So this is your answer. All right, go ahead and answer, do number 4. Now 4, oh no, that's not the bad one. Oh, did you have your, is it about number 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't you flip the sign and divide it?
Good question. Can somebody answer that question? Why didn't I flip the sign when I divided by 10?
Because it needs to be negative.
Because it has to be a negative number. If you divide or multiply by a negative, we flip it. Good question. More than one person has that question, I'm sure. All right, so take a moment. Let's start this one out. You're going to distribute.
Yes.
Well, it's up to you if you want to take it on this time. You can stay here and close to an 8. Did you have a sketch? I'm asking about it. Did you get a couch? She doesn't teach at 5th period though. That's the only thing. So you might have to flip some things around a little bit. So. I don't think they'll let you change in the middle. I'll ask her though. I'll ask her. All right, let's go ahead and distribute the 6. So I have 30 plus 8p is greater than 6p plus 24 plus 5p. All right, so who started with that? All right, good. So then I have 30 plus 8p is greater than, now these are like terms. Because they're on the same side, we would add them, and 6 plus 5 is 11. All right, next, you have a couple options. I'm going to subtract the 11, but you can also subtract the 8. When I do an inequality, I like for my variable to be on the left. But in the next equation or next problem, we can talk about what happens when it's not on the left. So I am going to subtract 11. So that would be 30 minus 3p is greater than 24. And then what should you do next? Subtract 30. And then my last step, now this time I am dividing by a negative. So what do I have to do with the sign? Now we actually flip it. So it would be P is less than positive 2. Who had that answer? P is less than 2. Just one person? Okay, did I mess it up? What did I do wrong?
I did the other one, I subtracted.
Okay. So did you get, so you probably had 2p. So yours looked like that.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing. So this means 2 is greater than p, which is the same thing as saying p is less than 2. So both of those are right. And I'm really not concerned with this, is how would you write this in interval notation? So how would you write whichever one? Because again, I'm not looking at these two. I need the answer in interval notation. So can someone tell me, somebody besides Cooper? Luke?
The soft bracket, negative, and the 2 hard bracket.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, nope, not a hard bracket on the 2. Why is it it's a soft bracket on the 2, and why is it a soft bracket? Because it's not equal to. So this is the answer that I am looking for. Any questions? All right, last 2. Go ahead, copy these down, and we will end there. No, I'm taking it off. Just the answer and interval notation. Now this one, these are a little trickier because you have to distribute twice. If it's one of these, that's when we use the parentheses. But if it's equal to, that's when we use the bracket. Now, plus and minus infinity, you always use a parentheses. So you don't put a hard bracket on an infinity. decimals or fractions, that I do know. That I do remember. You shouldn't have any fractions or decimals. You got an answer? So if they're on the same side, you don't do the opposite. You just add the 6 and then you just add the 6 and 7 to get 13. You don't do the opposite. And then, did you say 6 times 7 is 13? Always them little bitty, that's the only thing about math that, well, not the only thing, but one little mistake and we done missed it. It's not as forgiving. Watch that distributing those negatives. Distributing, that's really, you gotta be careful with that. Especially when it's a negative. Okay, let's go ahead and finish it out, y'all. So for the first one, we have 73 is less than, and that would be 6n plus 42. And then 7 times 3, negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. And the biggest mistake around the room, a lot of people made this mistake too. Negative 7 times a negative n is a positive 7n. All right, so now we're ready to clean this up. It's kind of messy. All right, so I can add these together. So 6 plus 7 gives you 13. And I can also add these together, which is going to give me a 21. I'm here today. Are you? I don't need this up today. I'm here today. Okay. What was I talking about? Okay, yeah, 42 minus 21 is a positive 21. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract the 21 from both sides. So 52 is less than 13n. Divide by 13. And I get 4 is less than n. Let me pull that down. Which is the same thing as n is greater than 4. So who had that answer? So in interval notation, because it's greater than, that means I'm starting with an open circle at the 4 and I'm going to the right. You don't have to graph it, but for some people, seeing it as a graph helps them write it in interval notation. So the answer that I would be looking for on the test is 4 to infinity. Both sides have a soft bracket. A lot of people had that. A lot of people, well, if you didn't distribute wrong, which was a common mistake. All right, last one. I also have to distribute twice, and this time is 2 negatives. All right, so we have to distribute the -4. That'll give you -4 minus 8x. Bring down your inequality. And then when I distribute the -3, I get -3x. And what should it be? +6 or -6? +6, because I'm multiplying 2 negatives. So you have your option. You can either add the 8 or add the 3. I'm going to add the 3. So that would be -4 minus 5x is less than or equal to 6. And then my next step would be to add 4. Which would be -5x is less than or equal to 10. I'm dividing both sides by -5. Which means I have to flip my inequality. So x becomes greater than or equal to -2. Now, if you solved yours differently, you could have also had the -2. You could have had it written that way, but regardless, I'm starting at -2. That's a hard bracket, and I'm going to the right. So it's -2 to infinity. So hard bracket -2 to positive infinity. All right, so now we are finished with Appendix 9. Appendix 9 is done.